You know, I'm getting the itch to do some gardening, but judging by the way it looks out there, I won't be able to do anything outdoors for a few more weeks, but I can do something inside. So I've decided to build a gardening bench. It'll actually serve two purposes. It'll give some of my vegetables and flowers a head start on the growing season, and then later on, I can convert it into a potting bench. Let me show you what I have in mind. I want to build this out of cedar. It'll have a slatted top and shelf below, and then two uprights, and those will eventually support a lighting fixture. Now I'm going to begin by building two frames. They'll be identical, and they'll form the front and the back of the bench. So let's begin there. I begin by cutting pieces of 1x4 cedar into the lengths I'll need for the base. Next, I lay the legs on top of the bench, place a cross rail on top, check to make sure everything is square, then drill countersunk pilot holes and drive in rust-resistant screws to attach the rails to the legs. Actually, the bench will have double legs, each made up of a pair of 1x4s. This will give me plenty of strength with minimal weight. Well, I've got both the front and back sections done, and I've put a couple of clamps on the bottom of each just to keep it upright here. Okay, this is about how they're going to go. Now, come over here to the computer, and I want to show you what we're going to do next. I want to connect the front and back together with end pieces. One pair at the top, another at the bottom. First, I clamp the end rails in position, then attach them with screws. Next, I'll add cross braces between the front and back rails. And finally, I'll install an apron at the top. The apron will give the base a finished look. Now I'm going to go ahead and add the decking on the shelf down below and on the top of the bench. To make sure the spaces between the boards are consistent, I've made up spacers using 16 penny nails driven through small squares of 1/4-inch plywood. Now this will give me about 1/8 of an inch between the boards, enough to allow for swelling and expansion when the top gets wet. Well, the basic bench is done, but remember, I want to use this at least part of the year for indoor growing, so I'll need some artificial light. To get it, I'm going to install a couple of uprights, and eventually to that I'll attach a lighting fixture. And the fixture will be raised up and down, be put in the lower position when the plants are small, and then raised to a higher position as they get larger. The uprights will have slanted notches on the inside to hold the light fixture. To make these, I first drill 1¼ inch holes, then cut out the notches using a jigsaw. Now here are the pieces with the slanted notches. Now I'm just going to attach these to the uprights. I'll laminate the two pieces by first applying some glue, then clamping them together. Screws will add strength and hold the pieces firmly in place while the glue dries. I attach the assembled uprights to the bench and add a cross brace to connect the tops. Now, for best results, artificial light used for indoor growing should be uniform from left to right and front to back. So I went online to see what kind of special fixtures might be available for this, and I came across this site right here. It's called Indoor Gardening Supplies. And after looking at their offerings, I found this fixture right here, and that's the one I decided to use. I ordered it, showed up here a couple days later. It's perfect, except I don't want it white. I'm going to paint it a nice dark green. Now, when using spray cans, I like to keep the nozzle about 12 inches from the surface and move back and forth in long, smooth strokes. Well, I've moved the bench down here to the basement. Here's the light fixture. Got the grow lights in here, and the paint's dry. Now, what I have to do is to figure out how to best hook this up to these uprights. And I'm going to do it, I think, using this piece of copper pipe. Got some caps on the end here. And I'll just attach that to these pieces of wood that I put on the fixture earlier. Common copper pipe straps like these, used for plumbing, work perfectly. So the way this is going to work is the ends of the copper pipe slip right in these notches here, like that. Now, in general, you want to keep the light about 4 to 6 inches above the top of the seedlings. So as they get taller, it's just a matter of grabbing this, actually makes a nice handle, and moving it up to the height that you need it. Well, my seedlings have plenty of light, but they'll also need other things for a healthy start. So I visit my local home improvement center to pick up some essentials. Some seedlings also like warmth. They'll get that from this heating pad made just for the purpose. Well, our seedlings will have light and warmth. Now we got to make sure they have the proper growing mixture. And the best ones are soilless, made up of sphagnum peat moss, and perlite, like this one from Scott's, made especially for seedlings. And I'm going to put this in a growing tray right here. After I add the potting mixture to my trays, the seeds are ready for planting. I make a small depression with my fingertip and drop in just 1 or 2 seeds in each section. Cover them with a bit of potting mixture, and these little guys are ready to take root. Ideally, these seedlings will want about 12 to 16 hours of light a day. This automatic timer will make sure they get it without fail. I place the trays on top of the heating pad. Give the newly planted seeds a drink of water using this watering wand that connects directly to a spigot here in the basement. Place clear plastic covers on the trays to cut down on evaporation, and finally lower the light fixture into the correct position. Well, my seeds have light, warmth, moisture, and a great growing medium. Now, when I start seeing the first signs of foliage, I'll want to begin feeding them with a starter solution, something like this one. And even though spring is still several weeks away, well, I can start my gardening right now.